Everyone in that enormous mansion believed the millionaire's daughter was simply sick, fragile, weak, and strangely silent. But on her very first day as the new housemaid, Elena heard a sound no illness could explain, a trembling whimper echoing behind a locked door. And when she finally stepped inside, she froze. The little girl wasn't sick. She was terrified. Something was hidden beneath her tangled hair, something someone had forced into her scalp, over and over again. And when Elena lifted the strands to see what it was, her entire world shattered. Elena had cleaned hundreds of houses before, but none like this one. The Alvarez mansion looked like a museum. Tall ceilings, marble floors that echoed every step, and paintings so expensive she felt afraid Deckney SEB. She'd only been hired that morning, after a rushed interview with Mrs. Camilla, the kind of woman whose smile never reached her eyes. "Your job is simple," Camilla had said, her voice sharp and businesslike. "Stay on the ground floor. Do not disturb the child. She needs rest." Rest. The word echoed strangely in Elena's mind as she walked toward the staircase with her cleaning supplies. Because ever since she arrived, she kept hearing it, the faintest, trembling sound drifting from upstairs. A whimper, a small one, the kind a child makes when trying not to cry. Elena paused at the bottom step. She shouldn't go up. She knew that. A new job meant following rules, keeping quiet, avoiding trouble. But something about that sound twisted her stomach. It wasn't normal. It wasn't sickness. It was fear. Against her own better judgment, she climbed the stairs slowly, each footstep light as a whisper. The hallway above was silent, long, and dimly lit, the kind of place where secrets hid in the shadows. The sound came again, this time clearer, from the last door on the right. It was slightly open, a sliver of pale light cutting across the wooden floor. Elena pushed it gently. "Hello," she whispered. No answer. Inside was a bathroom. Cold tiles, a bathtub half filled with water. And on the floor, curled beside the sink, was a little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, knees pulled tight to her chest, hair covering her face. "Elena," the girl whispered, though she'd never met her before. "Sweetheart, are you hurt?" The girl shook her head, then winced, like even moving caused pain. Her long, tangled hair fell forward, and that's when Elena saw it. Dark stains trailing down her scalp, dripping onto her small shoulders. Blood. Elena dropped to her knees, heart pounding. "My God, what happened to you?" The girl looked up, eyes wide with dread, and the trembling words that left her lips didn't sound like they belonged to a child at all. "Please don't tell my mother." Elena gently reached for the girl, but the child recoiled so sharply it made her flinch. Okay, I won't touch you," Elena whispered, keeping her voice soft, steady. "But sweetheart, you're bleeding. Let me help you." The girl shook her head again, pressing her palms to her scalp as if trying to hold something in place. Her breathing was shallow, panicked. "You can't," she whispered. "If you see, she'll know." "Who?" Elena asked. The girl didn't answer, but her eyes flicked toward the door, terrified. Elena looked around frantically. There were no sharp objects on the floor, no sign of a fall, no wound big enough to bleed like that, unless something was under the hair. "Sweetheart, what's your name?" "Luna." "Okay, Luna. I'm Elena. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to see what's making you bleed." Luna hesitated. Her lips trembled. She said no one can look. She said if anyone sees it, I'll be taken away. That's why I have to hide it. Elena's heart cracked. That wasn't fear of sickness. That was fear of someone she trusted, someone who controlled her. "Luna," Elena said gently, "did your mother do this to you?" The girl covered her face with both hands and began to cry silently, shoulders shaking. That was answer enough. Elena swallowed hard. She reached for a towel hanging beside the sink and slowly, very slowly, lifted Luna's hair. The strands were stuck together with dry blood. The smell of iron filled the air. And then Elena saw something glinting under the bathroom light. Metal. Thin. Sharp. Her stomach twisted. There were small, shiny objects embedded in Luna's scalp. Not staples, not medical pins, but decorative jewelry pins, the kind used for fabric, each one shoved so deep the skin had begun to scar around them. Some were new, some rusty, some still wet with fresh blood. My God, Elena whispered, voice cracking. Who did this to you? Luna's voice was barely audible. She said it's my punishment because I ruined everything. Because I killed my brother. Elena froze. Killed your brother? Luna shook her head violently. I didn't. I swear I didn't. But she says I did. And now I have to pay. Every day. Elena's breath caught in her throat. No child should speak with that kind of despair. Luna, listen to me, she said carefully. You didn't kill anyone. You hear me? None of this is your fault. But Luna only hugged her knees tighter. She says if I tell anyone, she'll make it worse. She always makes it worse. Elena swallowed hard. This wasn't just abuse. This was torture masked as discipline. And the person doing it lived under the same roof. Luna, I need to get you a doctor, Elena said. Your head? No, Luna cried, clamping her hands over her scalp. She'll know if anyone touches it. She checks. Every night. Every night. The words echoed like a nightmare Elena couldn't escape. She grabbed a washcloth, trying to wipe the blood gently, but Luna flinched at every touch. Elena's hands were shaking now. She wasn't trained for this. She was just a housemaid. But she couldn't leave Luna bleeding. She dipped the cloth in warm water and worked slowly. Pin by pin, she saw how many there were, dozens. A cruel pattern carved into the skin of a child. Behind her, footsteps echoed faintly from the hallway. Luna stiffened instantly. She's coming, Luna whispered, her eyes going wide. Elena's pulse sped up. Your mother. Luna nodded. Elena wiped her hands quickly, grabbed the removed pins, and hid them in her pocket. Luna, sit behind me, she said urgently. Don't say a word. The bathroom door swung open. Mrs. Camila stood there, flawless as ever, her expression instantly freezing when she saw Elena kneeling at Luna's side. What? She said slowly. Are you doing? Elena rose to her feet, positioning herself between Camila and the trembling child. I heard her crying. She's bleeding. She needs help. Camila's lips curved into a smile, a thin, poisonous smile. She's fine. She gets sensitive. The doctors said it's normal. There are pins in her scalp, Elena snapped. Metal pins. Old ones. New ones. Some infected. Camila's smile didn't move. Oh, she said, voice silky. And what exactly do you think you saw? Elena's heart thudded, because Camila's tone said one thing very clearly. Whatever happened next would not be simple. For a moment, the room felt too small to hold the three of them. Camila's heels clicked slowly on the tile as she entered, her cold eyes never leaving Elena's face. You're new, she said calmly. Perhaps you misunderstood your job. Elena didn't back down. My job is to clean, not to ignore a child who's bleeding. Camila tilted her head slightly, studying her like a specimen under glass. Luna has a condition, she said, enunciating each word carefully. She scratches her own head. She pulls her own hair. The pins? She finds them and pushes them in herself. Elena felt sick. That's not possible. She's terrified of them. Camila's expression sharpened. And you think you know my daughter better than I do after one day? Behind Elena, Luna pressed herself into the wall, shaking so violently her teeth chattered. She didn't dare speak. She didn't dare breathe. Elena forced herself to stay steady. I'm taking her to a doctor. Camila stepped closer. No, you're not. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The threat in it was bone deep. You signed a contract, Camila continued. A contract that states you are not to interfere with the family's private matters. The Alvarezes are well known. Powerful. A scandal would destroy everything we've built. Elena's hands clenched. And what about Luna? What about what you're doing to her? Camila's smile returned. That slow, venomous smile. Careful, dear. You're making dangerous accusations. She looked at Luna. Come, sweetheart. Luna didn't move. Her eyes begged Elena not to let her go. Camila's voice sharpened. Luna, now. The child rose on trembling legs and walked to her mother like a prisoner approaching a warden. Camila placed a possessive hand on her shoulder. You see, she said. She's fine. Elena felt her chest tighten. She's not fine. She's terrified of you. For the first time, Camila's perfect smile cracked, only for a second. Then her eyes narrowed. "You're fired." Elena swallowed hard. "You think firing me will make me forget this?" Camila leaned in so close Elena could feel her breath. "Oh no," she whispered. "You won't forget. Because if you breathe a word of this to anyone, I'll make sure no one believes you. And Luna will pay the price." Elena froze. Camila walked out, pulling Luna with her, the door slamming shut like a final warning. Elena stood alone in the silent bathroom, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might crack. Her mind raced. She couldn't stay. She couldn't leave. She couldn't call the police without proof. Camila was right about one thing. The Alvarezes were powerful. No one would believe a newly hired maid accusing a millionaire's wife of torturing her own daughter. But Elena wasn't going to abandon Luna. Not after what she'd seen. Not after hearing, "She checks every night." Elena wiped her hands, steeling herself. If Camila was going to destroy her, then Elena would have to find a way to expose the truth first. The first attempt. Elena left the bathroom and walked down the hall toward the stairs. As she reached the landing, she heard soft voices from Luna's room. The door was cracked open. She paused, listening. Camila's voice was low, controlled. "You embarrassed me today." "I'm sorry," Luna whispered. "You will be. Tonight." Elena's stomach twisted. She needed evidence. She needed something undeniable. Her eyes scanned the hallway, and then she saw it, positioned high on the wall, barely noticeable, a small security camera. The entire house was monitored, and Camila had forgotten that. Elena's heartbeat quickened. She walked downstairs, pretending to gather her things, then slipped into the office she had dusted earlier. The monitors were still on. A digital timeline displayed hours of footage. She clicked through the feeds. Kitchen, garden, front gate, hallway outside Luna's room, bathroom. There was Luna curled on the floor, bleeding, crying. Elena entering. Elena discovering the pins. Luna confessing. Camila threatening her. All recorded. Elena quickly grabbed her phone to film the screen, but the instant she pressed record, the monitors went black. A voice behind her said softly, "I told you, don't interfere." Elena spun around. Camila stood in the doorway, remote in hand, expression colder than stone. "You really don't know when to stop, do you?" she said. Elena backed away. "There's footage." "Deleted," Camila said. "All of it." Her tone was terrifyingly calm. "You need to leave. Now." Elena hesitated. "Not without Luna." Camila's eyes darkened. "She's my daughter, and you are nothing." Rock bottom. Elena left because she had no choice. Camila personally escorted her to the gate, smiling for the guards, waving cheerfully as if seeing off a friend. But the moment Elena stepped outside, the gates slammed shut behind her. The next morning, Elena returned with the police. The officers questioned Camila, who played her role perfectly. "Pins? In her scalp?" she laughed. "Officers, my daughter has dermatillomania, a diagnosed condition. She pulls her own hair. This new maid must have misunderstood." Luna was brought out, hair brushed perfectly, scalp hidden, eyes empty. "Sweetheart," Camila said sweetly, "tell them the truth." Luna looked at Elena, then at her mother, and whispered, I did it to myself." Elena felt her world collapse. No proof, no help, no hope. The police apologized and left. Camila closed the door with a victorious smile. Elena stood on the sidewalk, shaking with helpless rage. But then, something clicked. Last night, when she'd entered the bathroom, she had slipped the removed pins into her pocket. Evidence. Real, physical evidence. She reached into her pocket, pulled them out, and stared. Fresh blood. Skin tissue. Not something a child could have done alone. Elena took out her phone and began recording. The final strike. Over the next 2 days, Elena did everything she could. She went to a pediatric specialist, then a child psychologist, then a dermatologist. Every expert said the same thing. These injuries were inflicted, not self-inflicted. She compiled statements, photos, and the bloodied pins. Then she took it all to CPS, Child Protective Services. They moved immediately. That evening, 3 CPS officers and 2 police units arrived at the mansion. Elena stood behind them, heart racing. Camila opened the door, still elegant, still confident, until she saw the badges. "We have a warrant to check on the welfare of your daughter," the lead officer said. Camila's face stiffened. "You can't." "We can," he said, "and we will." They pushed past her. Minutes later, a cry echoed through the hallway. Luna's cry. Camila lunged, screaming, but the police restrained her as CPS workers carried the trembling girl out of the room. Her hair carefully lifted to reveal scars, infected wounds, and new pins freshly embedded that morning. Camila's mask shattered. She was arrested on the spot. The aftermath. Luna was placed in temporary care, and Elena was allowed to visit her. When the child saw her, she ran into her arms, sobbing into her chest. "Thank you," Luna whispered, "for not leaving me." Elena held her tightly. "I told you," she said softly, "none of this was your fault." As Luna healed, the truth of her brother's death finally came out. An accident, twisted into a weapon of guilt by a mother desperate to maintain control. And for the first time in years, Luna slept without fear.